right, guys, Big Tony back here. Abnormality. My good buddy Chris, my co-host, my partner in crime. So we're here. We're talking a little bit about psychics because everyone knows that we have really aligned ourselves with our buddy William Becker.
That's fact.
He's agreed to help us out and give us some reads on some of the on-location sites.
Right.
We did a couple of interviews, and we're going to help him do a little bit of his show. He's got an idea for a show he wants to put together, and we're going to help put that together. So we thought we'd have a little bit of a chance to talk a little bit about psychics and some of the history behind it.
Well, let's go ahead and start. What do you know about psychics, Tony? What do you know?
You know, every time someone mentions to me psychic, the first thing that pops in my head is that
if you say Whoopi Goldberg from Ghost, we're going to have a problem. We're going to
Well, no, that's the last thing that pops in my head. So I was going to mention that later, but
okay.
See, there goes my punchline. Now I got to come up with something different. No, I think about all those times when you're walking around and it's like you have this premonition of something happening. I think everybody has that psychic ability within them that they feel things happening or they predict things that are happening.
I just heard your inner William Becker come out at me right there.
William Becker and I have been spending a lot of time together. No, it's just that premonition about you seeing things. So you always hear people that say, you know, we've been married forever. We kind of answer each other's questions.
Right.
And I wonder how much of that is more of kind of a psychic ability that comes out. I think everybody has that ability.
Well, you have to also remember that there's different kinds of people with that psychic gift, right? So you have to kind of remember that. So you have your initial psychic, right? Your psychic is somebody who can have premonitions of the future, predict the future. That's that's a big thing. You have your mediums who can communicate with, you know, everything around them. There's certain levels and certain different names for people that have gifts that are more prominent than the others. I believe you're right that everybody has all of these gifts, but it appears to me in life nowadays that the certain people have one of these gifts that are more evolved than the rest.
Well, and I think it's, you know, it's kind of a weird thing. People say, you know, they kind of predict things and they talk about a psychic. Everybody just shuts down.
Right.
You know, that whole thing about, you know, the things that Salem Paranormal does and investigating the paranormal. You know, 10, 15 years ago, you guys were kind of weird and kind of different, and people in, you know, the higher class circles were like, oh, aren't they cute? They're so sweet. You know, it wasn't really taken seriously. And when someone comes up and says, you know, I'm a psychic, but yet you look at things like police files, you look at different times when psychics have come on board and how they've been such a huge help.
Yeah, but well, in some instances, we can't say they've always been a big help because there's some with very low batting averages.
And even in talking to William, I mean, he has those moments where he's like, you know, I'm just not really sure. You can kind of tell by the way he's talking when he's sure and when he's not really sure what's going on.
Well, agreed. I think that comes with any gift, though. I mean, in order to hone your skill and be there and be like on point with it, I think you have to have years and years of service to that particular skill. It's like anything else that you do. You know, I could have spent the last 11 years of my life learning how to play guitar, and I would assume that if I spent all that energy playing that, I'd be, you know, the next Slash. But I think it all amounts to the time we put into whatever gift it is we have, whether it is, you know, anything psychic or if it's just, you know, just being an empath, being able to, you know, just pick up feelings in the room. Everything with practice, I think, becomes a lot stronger and a lot more powerful.
And so, you know, in your experience growing up, and I mean, you've been doing this for 11 years. I mean, you know, when we go out on the field, the couple times that you had me out with you, it's like you always look at me and say, you know, does things feel different?
Right.
You know, it's just, and I don't know if it's psychic, I don't know if it's a feeling, I don't know what it is, but it's like things feel different when something around you is changing.
Yeah, but I mean, that comes with people in general. I mean, in any circumstance or any scenario. And that's, I think, the reason why what William said about everybody having that gift kind of comes into play, because you can go, you know, William can go into a place and he can be like, okay, there's a lady in a long flowing red dress with, you know, gray hair or whatever have you. I can go into a place and be like, okay, this is either good or bad or neutral. So I think that it's just different with the person. You can go into a place and like you've seen things. You've actually seen things.
Yeah.
For me, I've seen things that want to be seen, but I don't have any extra sensory that's going to allow me to be able to peek into a room and see that type of stuff. That's why I think psychics are. Let me be clear. I think that real psychics are awesome because you've got this crap on TV that is like, the room is clear.
Yeah.
No.
Whoopi's pretty good.
Yeah. Have you seen that one show with the cop and the other lady, and they go in, the cop goes in, does his homework and his research on the land, and then the psychic follows through. Like, her faces are just priceless to me. I mean, I'm so scared. They're a bad thing. Like, she crunches up her face.
And she's the psychic?
I guess.
And that like makes her contort and makes her like strange?
Well, some psychics.
Is this on cable?
Yes.
Why don't I have cable? I wonder why.
Yeah, exactly.
Why? Yeah. I'm untapped. I've
But
never heard of it.
then there are people that are like seriously real. For example, I've had people come up to me when I first met William, for example. He walks up to me and goes, something's wrong. And I go, what do you mean? He goes, pain on the left side. Well, my left side has been in a lot of pain. And it's like, who are you? Are you a doctor? Like, what is your deal? He's like, no, just
Your energy.
yeah. So things like that, to be able to go through and validate these claims for people like William and other psychics out there, when you can validate something that they've said, I think it makes it just tenfold more awesome than it was before.
Why don't you think that more people in today's society are willing to just take a look and open that third eye, so to speak, that they talk about?
Because psychics and fraud have gone. I mean, there was way back in time where psychics were called out. God, I remember a story, and I want to say I think it was Houdini. Yeah, it was Houdini, and he lost a loved one.
Lost what?
A loved one.
Oh, a loved one. Okay.
Went through.
I thought you like loved
went
one,
through.
like
Went to a psychic and was like, "Hey, I want to talk to him." Well, all the bells and whistles were going off. He peeks under the table. She has a rope tied on her toe to ring the bell. It's up top that a spirit is there. Offered a $20,000 reward for any psychic or a person of any mediumship to come forth and show them that it was real. And $20,000 way back in the day, that's quite a chunk of change. Never had to pay it out.
Never.
Never. You've got psychics out. Everybody claims to be a psychic at one point or another. And I've seen it a lot in this field that people come up and like, oh, well, I'm a psychic. Okay. What gift do you have? Okay, well, I can see and communicate with dead things. Okay, take them out. Nothing. Nothing.
Just not feeling it tonight.
And you have to give credit to that, because sometimes dead things don't come out and play on command. It just doesn't happen like that.
Yeah.
But if you take somebody out 3 or 4 times and they don't give you anything, it's kind of like
There should be something.
there should be something.
Yeah, I know, because every time I'm around William, I feel like he's not talking to me. He's like, his eyes are everywhere but looking at somebody. Well, probably because it hurts his neck. To be honest. That's
I bet it does hurt his neck.
The altitude change alone probably makes his ears pop.
Dude, you can feel the rain before like the rest of us.
5
floors
minutes before. I'm
Yeah.
like, hey guys, it's going to rain in like 5 minutes. You might want to grab an umbrella. It's
Like,
a gift.
no, it's not. Then rain.
Maybe that's my psychic ability. And that's just my
Being a meteorologist?
socially acceptable way for me to express that.
I think you're full of crap.
I
think you're full of crap.
Am I?
Yeah.
Okay. So
We'll do a seance later. We'll see how well you can communicate
Can
with
Whoopi do it?
No. No, she can't.
She played the part really well.
No, she
I
did-
bought it. It was great.
Are we really debating Ghost right now?
Hey, Ghost was great.
No.
You remember the whole pottery scene? We tried that. I saw it on the movie, and it was like it was a lot of
Unchained
fun.
Melody. That's all I have to say. Unchained Melody. Anyway,
Abnormality.
Abnormality, Unchained Melody.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah.
If it works, it works.
It works. It'd be like that'd be the name of an episode.
So, since you've been in the field, since you've been learning about the occult and the paranormal and all that type of stuff, what is kind of your view on psychics?
To me, it's like I always feel like when I go into certain situations and I feel things that are different, it's almost like the things are there if I just pay attention. It's like you have to stop yourself and you have to listen and open, and you can feel things change and energies. Because I'm one of those weird guys too, that I get around people and I can tell when they're having a bad day because their energies are different.
You've done it with me like 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, it's like you come in the room and I can just feel that something's off and something's not right. And so, it's completely reasonable to think that that somebody has that ability to. And I don't think it's so much like some sort of a supernatural gift. I think it's just people that are in tune with their emotions and energies and stuff around them.
One of my favorite.
You got to pay attention.
One of my favorite answers. I always used to pick fun of psychics. I would always pick fun at them. Always. They're just kind of my thing. And then I got a person of faith actually came to me and was like, "So you don't believe in psychics?" I'm like, "Well, neither do you." And the person fired back with the best comment I've heard to this day. Well, we are all built in God's image. So it makes you think what kind of other cool supernatural powers we all have.
Yeah.
Psychics lead into many things. You could talk about, mind reading and moving the spoon.
Well, and it's known fact we only use about 10% of our brain. I think I'm down to like 2%, but we don't use our full potential.
That's fact. That is fact.
If we tap into the 2% part, or that we don't use our brain.
Both.
That's kind of rude. We're supposed to be like co-hosts in this and kind of help each other out. And I feel like
Have you seen the content we put out this far? Have you seen it?
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. I'm pretty excited.
I'm sure all 6 of our viewers will be too.
And I'm excited about it too because this is just kind of our leading into the bigger and better things to come.
Exactly, and that's the cool part, especially like with this episode. For those of you at home watching, the cool thing about this is William Becker is going to be on the show.
Yeah.
You're going to get the chance to see and talk to him. Yeah.
We're giddy with excitement. We just can't hardly hold ourselves.
I'm surprised that chair is holding you.
I'm actually amazed because if you look at it on camera, it looks like a first grader's chair. Like you go to Walmart and you buy those little recliners for kids.
It looks like your knees are almost in your chest.
It almost kind of holds up the pectorals.
Yeah,
kind of works on it like that. But it does. It's like a little kid's chair.
Yeah.
We need to talk.
If you were psychic, you'd have seen that coming.
Seen what coming?
Small chair.
Oh, I'm giant. Everything's small. So I can say I'm psychic. Everything in this building is going to be too small for me. Dude, that's seriously? Sign me up. I need a TV show.
I want to touch base on one more thing before we decide to close the segment of the show.
Okay.
So, it's not exactly psychics. What about prophets? Like Nostradamus, for example. What are your thoughts on stuff like that?
Prophets?
Yeah.
I'm not, I think religion should be one that we just kind of leave
No,
off.
I'm saying like Nostradamus, people that predicted.
Oh, like predict the future
Yeah.
and things like that, not in a religious context?
No, not like the, no.
I still can't shake the idea that, I'm on a journey and I'm learning new things about myself all the time. And
Right.
I'm opening my brain to different possibilities and realizing that the way that I've kind of been raised and the way that I've kind of done things, that maybe there's a different way. So I don't think it's that impossible when you get people that are highly intelligent, in tune to their surroundings, are sensitive to changes in their life and things that are going around. It's not that uncommon for people to come up with visions or ideas of things that are going to happen. I'm a firm believer in the Fibonacci sequence, which
Right.
is completely off topic in what we're talking about, but I love math and being able to predict things that happen in our environment based on mathematical equations.
Well, everything, man.
That's not that difficult, and it's
you wanna-
not that far-fetched.
You were talking to like magic and like the beliefs of magic and all that type of stuff. All that is mathematics that affect the tides of the moons and all that stuff. So everything bases back down to mathematics, including old school magic. So I think that's a good topic for another day. I don't think we have enough time to.
I just think we're so wrapped up in our own existence and our own stuff and needing things that we just don't pay attention to the things around us every single day, that if we just stop for 5 seconds and stop with the talking and just listen and feel the energies around us, that things could be a lot different.
I totally agree. One of the coolest things that I think we've talked about lately is just the idea that this is it. The fact that it's just this. Yeah. And that's why I've done this for so long, is the pursuit to try to find something more. Now, I've seen things off and on that have obviously, I'm going gray and crazy and all that stuff, but you see things that change you.
Uh-huh.
But I think that's the biggest pursuit for anybody in this field, is trying to find that undeniable proof of what comes next. Mm-hmm. Now, do I think we'll find it? I hope so.
Yeah.
But at some point, we will all go and find what comes next.
Yeah.
So whether you're psychic or not, that's one
you
last
said
thing.
one last thing a minute
Yeah,
ago.
sorry, but psychics, do you think they can see when they're going to die?
That's kind of interesting. But maybe it becomes, that whole thing of the idea of time travel, where you can't travel outside your own lifetime. Maybe that's their death. They can't see it. That's kind of like their block. They can't see things that affect their death or how it's going to happen, but they're able to project that energy out onto other people and see other things that's how they're limited.
I'll tell you right now, that's the most amazing answer I've heard to that question yet.
Because I'm a genius.
A freakishly huge genius, yes.
Seriously. So we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to be back with William Becker in a minute. I'm Big Tony.
And I'm Chris.
We'll see you guys in a few minutes.
Hi, guys, and welcome back to Abnormality. Today, our guest is the one and only William Becker. How's it going today, William?
Great, and thank you so much for that very kind introduction.
Well, when we have a great individual on our show, I got to kind of make sure everybody knows how great you really are. So
Well, I appreciate it. I'm blushing.
yeah, you should be. Mm-hmm. Tony can pretty much just go somewhere else because I found my co-host. So Tony, I hope you.
I guess I'm done here. I've done all I can do.
The price for fame, right?
Wow.
So William, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about what you do?
Okay, I talk to dead people and other kinds of beings. I know that I don't mean to make it sound flip, but I teach people to open up and talk to the paranormal beings around them.
Okay.
I do that myself. I do past life readings, between life readings, how that works with people now in their lives, mentor people with that. And what I really love doing too is traveling and talking to ghosts. all over the world. There's nothing like being in a 2,000-year-old fort and watching the training the soldiers went through, and things like that.
That is
Wow, that's
definitely
intense.
interesting.
It's fun.
So I guess I'm going to kind of steal from Tony here for a second. Are we clear? Like, I mean, is there anything in here with us today now?
Well, there's been the guy that I've seen around you before.
Right.
He's thinner, shorter, glasses, dark glasses. I'm not quite sure who he is. Did I talk to you about him at the
No,
coffee
we
shop?
only discussed the skeleton guy.
Well, I mean the time before.
No, the skeleton guy was the only one we've ever discussed as far as seeing
Okay.
around me.
Because it's somebody I've seen around you.
Okay.
And it's, just somebody watching out for you. It's a good thing, not a bad
They're
thing.
not holding like a knife or anything, are they?
Oh, no.
Okay, because every time
That's this guy.
Yeah, every time I turn around, Tony has a knife, and it's
Yeah,
weird. It's
yeah.
uncomfortable.
Yeah,
It's just
no,
that feeling I get. It just feels natural. I don't know. It's something about you get around.
You know
me,
what?
I just-
You are a giant human being, but you're an abomination of a person. I just want you to know that right now.
Okay.
Okay, so
Anyway.
now,
Wow.
folks, if I
See what I have
disappear,
to deal with?
they put me in
Jeez.
the middle so that when he gets struck by lightning, I'm buffering Tony.
I'm safe.
And now Tony's got the knife, and I'm in the middle as a buffer for Chris. So
But the beautiful thing is, you'll see it coming, right?
I'm not that kind of psychic.
Oh, okay. So,
I usually talk to him after it happens.
so after they happen,
Yeah, I don't do much with the future.
so like we're trying to get you clients, is what we're saying.
You're trying to make me a client.
I'm not only the president, I'm also a client.
Yeah,
Okay.
excellent.
So, tell us a little bit more about these classes that you teach. I'd love to hear a little bit more about this.
I help people tune in, basically. I think everybody's psychic. I think it's part of our DNA as a species going back to our earliest forms of humanity. And we live in society now that blocks it and actually teaches it's not true. How many kids who have imaginary friends, the friends aren't imaginary? Sometimes they are, but I would bet that sometimes they aren't.
Sure.
And we teach that out of people, and I help people find it again.
Right.
There isn't a right or a wrong way to do it. Everybody's different. When I tell people, I help them find their instruction manual and interpret it. And, that's my job. And it's great. I love it. It's so beautiful when you see people start to get it and click. And they're actually seeing the little girl holding their hand and can have the communication with them. And then describe her, and then somebody walks in with a picture with several children in it, and then can point it out.
Yeah.
Or pick it up on a picture on a tree, or on a wall, or fit the historic descriptions. And
So you
I
think
love
pretty
it.
much all of us have somebody with us in some form or another?
I think a lot of times people are hanging around us, but I think everybody's psychic. It's
Okay.
just we haven't put it together yet.
Yeah, and I think we're so bogged down with everything that we see in society, and we're just kind of desensitized that we don't really pay attention. We just
Exactly.
need to wake up.
And it's like anything else, it takes practice. You have to keep working on it.
Yeah.
So, how many years have you been building your gift?
Do I have to say I'm that old?
I mean, you're 21, so I mean,
Oh, bless you.
that's
You're in your
not very
20s,
long.
so it can't
obviously.
be that long.
So I've been working on it since then. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
No, I saw my first ghost when I was 8. And when we found out, a bunch of us kids were playing, and I asked the kid whose neighborhood we were in who this other kid was and if he could play with us. And
So plain as day. It was like one of the kids sitting. in
oh,
the
just
group.
like you guys. And it was in the early afternoon.
Was there any communication at that point, or you hadn't really fine-tuned that?
And I just saw him, you
Okay.
know, and he was peeking around behind the corner of a couple things. And so I asked our leader at the moment, the kid whose neighborhood we were in, who it was, and if he could play with us. And my friend said, no, he's dead. It's Carl Green. He was a very famous
So-
ghost who died when he was 8.
The other kids saw him too.
Knew about him anyway.
Just knew. but
yeah,
maybe
I don't know
not.
if he
Okay.
saw him or not. I
Okay.
didn't ask. But
Another random question. This is kind of, I guess, for a lot of people that have never encountered psychics before. Do you see them in the state in which they died, or do they have what is visually like when you see somebody's deceased, say they had a traumatic death? Do you see them after that traumatic experience, or do you see them as like an intact individual?
it depends. I see them, sometimes they show me various stages of their lives to tell their picture or their story. I've been in cemeteries where the little girl turns into, or the young woman turns into the old woman by her headstone, and you get the name and such, and then you see the headstone, and that's always reaffirming. sometimes, well, let me kind of talk a little bit about what I think ghosts are mostly
Okay.
first. Most of what I think we see around us or experience are pieces of our personality or our intellect that we leave behind, not the soul. It's not three-dimensional enough.
Okay.
And so a lot of times what we're getting in a place is who that person was that was important to them at the time or at that place. Now, sometimes we have visiting souls, and so that's more complex. Sometimes somebody chooses to hang out. They're not trapped, they just choose to hang out. And so that's a little bit more complex, and we see more of them. So often in a situation like you're talking about, I think you could see pretty much any of it. The trauma would have been the accident
Right.
or the death. And so that would have been the strongest impression.
Right.
But they might also then show us the earlier life to show who they were and what happened. I haven't seen anybody too gory, actually.
Right.
I go in with respect, and they're always nice to me.
Do you think it's kind of like there's a purpose to it? They're looking for someone who's open. They're trying to get a point across. They're trying to share something.
Sometimes.
A lot of times.
Sometimes.
Okay.
Sometimes it's just there, and the movie keeps playing,
Yeah.
and you can see it, but you
Kind of
can't
a residual,
communicate.
just that playback
Okay,
over
so
and
there's a
over.
difference
Right.
between like seeing a spirit in a residual format versus an intelligent format.
Well, sometimes the intelligent format can also still be just a piece of the person, not the soul.
Right.
But
Okay.
yes, that one, the intelligent thing can interact, and they're also the ones that are just a picture on the wall or an action going through, and they're completely unaware of you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so what one of the basis in paranormal investigating that we do, we love helping people. I mean, that's we go into a house and answer questions and try to make people more comfortable in their home. And I'm assuming that's kind of the basis of what you do as well, kind of helping people understand what it is they're seeing or hearing. Can you give us an example of a time where you ran across like a difficult task in that, like that something was happening that wasn't exactly an ideal situation as far as seeing or hearing a spirit?
Let's see. As far as working with the client, not so much.
Right.
Because usually what I can do is we talk to the entities and figure out what it is they want. And I've gone on investigations where starting out the people want the entities gone. But then by the time we've communicated with them, figured it out, they're happy to let them stay with ground rules.
Right.
And to me, that's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah.
And yeah, I like that the best.
Has it ever frightened you having this gift?
Mm-mm. No, it's great.
Well,
I
and you
love
said that you kind of have that ability to kind of turn it off and on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I can't imagine sitting around and hearing all these things, going everywhere, seeing everything's, and seeing things everywhere you go.
Oh, I have to choose to be able to pick that up.
Yeah.
Usually, unless it's something that just hits me over the head.
Because I think of all these days when I'm exhausted, I'm working a lot of hours, I'm tired, and it's just like having the ability to shut those things off, feeling like I'm crowded all the time.
And there's
And
not
I
always.
don't have
something
a gift that I've experienced as far as being able to control it, but having that heavy feeling like there's someone around
right.
that's kind of keeping an eye on me.
Yeah. Well, a lot of times it's just thank you. And, my parents pop in, my grandmother, different people sometimes. I get activity in my house and it's not haunted.
Yeah.
It's just that people come to visit. And so far they've all been welcome.
Yeah.
Don't you? And you do events. You do like
Yes.
events and classes and such. So give us an example. Like, so you do a class. You have an event coming up soon. As a matter of fact.
Right. I've got one the 4th, 5th, and 6th, I think it is, or 5th and 6th in Port Townsend that weekend in February. And then the first weekend of March in the Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, Stephen King's hunting ground.
Estes Park, Denver.
Colorado.
Yeah,
Yeah,
outside
out
Colorado.
of Denver. Mhm.
So give us kind of an overview of how your class would go. So you have your 30 people in there that are attending this class. So how would something like that go?
Well, I start out with the basics. I teach people safety,
Right.
Things like that. I really emphasize respect. We're the guest, and we're not even an invited guest. We just happen to barge in. And we work on grounding and centering, shielding, filtering, and, a lot of things just to help. We talk about what you really do or don't want to ask. It's like asking a question. Here in our society, you say, hello, how are you? And everybody says fine. And, you say fine back and everything's cool. So often. Well, you ask a ghost, and they may tell you. And so you don't ask questions unless you want the answer. And they may tell you secrets they don't want told. So if you're working with a team, then part of what you have to do is ask them, okay, is there a way I can let my team know the basics, things like that. And I've had that. There was a little boy in Port Gamble who took me into a closet to tell me everything because he didn't want the rest of the team to know. And he gave me permission to tell them the basics when we were out of the house so he wouldn't hear it. And it was really sweet. And so we did.
This is some of the most fascinating stuff. I mean, you have people all over the world and all over the paranormal field that claim to be psychics and that type of stuff. But I think it's so refreshing to have somebody that can teach people how to open their minds and teach people the proper way to look at things and engage these entities, if you will, because so many people go in and provoke, and so many people go in and just treat with disrespect when they go into a
If they do that on my class, they're out. I just won't tolerate it. And nobody has at this point. Everybody's been respectful. And it opens the world to us. There's so much out there that's beyond our five senses and our three-dimensional world. And the more we can open up to those, the more of the fullness of life we can experience, in my opinion.
Do you feel like people are just, that's part of the problem with some people, is they're just missing a part of life? Because you always hear about people feel like something's missing, something's like we're missing part of our lives, and being able to explore that and to, do a little research, so to speak.
I do. I do think so. And we can see the history when we open our minds to allow the visions to come in. We can understand people better. And when people that are past are really, their soul is communicating with us, we can start communicating with the true essence of the person. So-and-so was a very miserable parent because they had all these things going on in this life and their own experiences being abused growing up. But their soul's really quite beautiful, and when we can talk to that and get beyond the manifestation just here, we get a whole nother perspective on the person. And to me, that's beautiful. My favorite thing is I get to make a lot of friends. That's what I love about it. I get to talk to a lot of ghosts.
Well, this has been very intriguing.
Amazing.
Yeah, we want to say thank you very much, William, for taking the time to explain a little bit of what you do. I know it's so much more complex. We hope sometime soon we get you in again and kind of go over more.
Okay.
And I would love to have you kind of be a regular and kind of give us some of your adventures. Maybe even have your own show one day. All right, guys.
That's
well,
awesome.
with that
Thank
being
you.
said,
Thank
on
you.
behalf of myself and Big Tony, we have William Becker here. Thank you for tuning in to Abnormality. We hope you guys have a great night, and we'll see you next week. Take care.
See you next time.
Thank you.